Welcome to Ask Cadence, everybody, the project management podcast. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Pete Wright, and I'm here once again with John Patton. John, hello.
Hello, Pete. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad we're back. We're back recording these things. It just is so nice to be able to sit down and talk through these things.
I enjoy doing it, Pete. I've got a lot of answers, and I go around looking for questions.
Well, I have a question for you. Last week, I made the comment that, one of the things I like so much about hearing your speeches is that there's always something, there's real work that comes out of your talks. And it's very application based. And almost immediately after that, I'm in a conversation with another Cadence colleague here saying, we have this challenge of folks who just don't understand the role that Cadence training plays in their work. They're scared about leaving their work for 3 days. They're scared about losing focus on the stuff they're working on back at their desk. And I, knowing Cadence as I do, I know that couldn't be further from the truth. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk with you about the importance of the real work that goes on at Cadence.
Okay, Pete. Now I hear where you're coming from. You're talking about our public seminar offering and people who have not been exposed to the Cadence approach to getting things done, and that it hasn't become the method which the company really supports is getting internal projects done. So
Absolutely.
You're not talking about our fine customers who are bringing us in internally throughout the year. You're talking about somebody who may be thinking about going to a public seminar.
Yes, absolutely. And the experience of joining that public seminar and how to make the best use of it. And that it's not just training. I can go to training all day long and not learn a single thing.
Well, you got to make it real work is one of the things.
How does that happen?
One of the things we recommend is that you send a project team. We don't use cases in our seminars. We use real projects, and real projects that people are working on or that they bring specifically to work on when they come to class. So our whole teaching method is a short presentation followed by an example, then some non-examples to show what's there, what isn't there, then a two-person exercise. It forces people to talk to each other. We learn by talking and interacting with each other.
Sort of integrating vernacular.
You betcha. And then a breakout workshop working on a real project. So it's really important to come with a group of people who will end up being your support group afterwards. Now, not that we don't like individuals, but there are some drawbacks of only one person going. We call that the old scout approach.
The old scout.
Right. So we have this thing, Cadence is offering it, so we're going to send our old scout to check out the seminar. The old scout goes, compares it, likes it, goes back to work and has no support group, is besieged with requests the day they get back, and so they continue doing things the old way, and there's another book on the bookshelf.
Fair enough.
Now there's another one which says, we've got engineers, people, professionals who got a college education, and then some of them went on to get their masters. And let's see, the undergrad degree, that was 4 years. The master was a couple of years, then 3 years for a PhD. So we've got really a lot invested in these people before they came to work for us, and we'd like to make them project management specialists in about a half a day. So we don't have much time. Can you come in and give them project management about 4 hours, so it'd be out before lunch here. And we call that the sheep dip approach. Now, you have to have a farming background like mine to understand sheep dip.
Explain
and you line
that.
up the sheep, and there's this tank full of chemicals that will cause the critters that do the bad things to the sheep to be eliminated. And so the sheep have to swim through this stuff to get totally coated. So their head is above water, and there's somebody with a pole, and they dunk the head under the chemicals, and the sheep splutters comes out the other side, and they're covered with the chemical. Now, sheep really doesn't have to do anything about it, and when we say sheep dip approaches, everybody's been exposed to the concepts of good practices in project management, but they've had no practice at it, and it hasn't been embedded. And so that takes multiple days. We can create good people that come in with experience and can embed the methodology in about 3 days. But less than that, the probability of not being able to use it because you haven't had enough practice in workshops in there goes up tremendously. So.
All right, and so suddenly it becomes easier to recognize the importance of sending a whole intact team with the real work. Don't just make stuff up for the purpose of going through a training.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we've had some very interesting experiences, Pete. In the Silicon Valley, we had a startup company as a client, and they sent 7 key people to the seminar. Now there are only 24 people in the company. There were 2 absolutely key projects going. They were highly confidential, and the customer said, we want this, so we'll never be able to justify an in-house, and we want to send people to the public. What can you do for us? And so we said, well, we'll get you your own breakout workshop room, and the instructor will be the only person who goes into that room to view your results as you're working through your project planning and control approaches. And they said, well, we can't leave it in the room overnight. Oh, sure, you can take it home, bring it back in the morning and put it back up on the walls. And we did that, and I went back, I think it was 2 to 3 weeks later, saw that the project plans had been completely finished. They'd been put up in software. They were visible on walls so that people in the company could see and mark progress on the plans. The result was that they did get their products to market, and I think they're not far now from becoming a public company.
That it totally changes the framework of taking the 3 days to go to a project management session. It is essentially off-site consulting for a rapid project startup.
Yes, well, it gives people a language and a behavior for the essentials, planning and control, and proper control in its most positive sense here. Control means knowing what's happening and finding out about things that are having difficulty early enough to do something about it, to still have alternatives.
So you are an intact team. You come to an off-site project management session with Cadence. What guidance do you have on how they, how they return to work to help kind of spread the experience? Well, if we know the old scout function doesn't work all that well, what about the team approach?
Well, we have an exercise that we have a little fun with. And it's called Where Were You? So we tell people when they go back to work that somebody's going to come up to them and say, where were you during the past 3 days? And they answer, well, I was away at this project management seminar. Well, how was it? Terrific. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Well, what did you learn? Let's see. The lunch was great on day 2. And so they comment about the environment. So we prepare them, give them a little outline that they can use to tell people where they were, what they did, what they learned. It takes about 10 minutes. We give them the framework. They can make up their own words. But doing that increases retention 1 week later from about 25% to 70%. So if they don't review anything with anybody on that first day back, a week later, most of it's gone. Mm-hmm. But if they do go through a structured review, maximum 10 minutes time here, they're going to put some recall pegs in their brain that will make doing the things they learned more natural. Now, whoever's the project manager, of course, has some pretty heavy-duty promises that they make to themselves to do things that will result in success better and faster.
Well, and that is the entire objective of this Cadence approach to project management, is delivering successful results quickly. Any other closing comments, John?
Yeah, we're in this business, Pete, to make a bottom line impact in corporations. That it is traceable, that it's visible, and that it's significant. And we stay with companies until they reach that sort of level. They become convinced that it's their project management ability and skills that are giving them that superior result.
Outstanding way to close, if I do say so myself. Thank you so much for your time today, John.
It's a pleasure, Pete.
You can find out more about the show at cadencemc.com or look for us on iTunes. Just search for Ask Cadence. Thank you so much for your time. On behalf of John Patton, my name is Pete Wright, and we'll catch you next week on Ask Cadence, the Project Management Podcast.